Hey friends, Pastor Buddy Chapman, coming with you with the Monday message. I hope everybody's starting off with a great week. Had a couple of things to kick around today, and I hope you guys enjoy the message. Kind of challenge us a little bit, and I call it casual Christianity. And I think we see a lot more of that from time to time. And I want to read a little something to you to get things kicking out of Hebrews 11:6. Just check this out. Verses it says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." And I guess my question is, are we earnestly seeking the Lord? And so a couple of things that just really bounce around tonight is, how committed are we to Christ? How committed are we to the mission? How committed are we to the gospel of Christ? And I hope that, as we go through this, it's not to put anybody down or shake anybody up. Well, maybe it is to shake us up a little bit, to really take a look at our life and say, hey, Lord, am I doing what you want me to do? Am I living like you want me to live? So think about that. Is our life reflecting casual Christianity, or is it reflecting committed Christianity out of that personal relationship? So there's a couple of things I said. What are we doing with our life? How are we living that? Or we just say, well, I'll show up to church sometimes and I'll pray sometimes, or yeah, I love the Lord, but... a lot of times we have all these different things. I love the Lord, but, or, I'm busy and things like that. But, if we are committed to the cause and we're committed to Christ, our life is going to reflect that. And I hope tonight, as we go through a few things, that it just kind of really draws your heart to the Lord. And think about this. I want to look at that verse again. Let me throw these glasses back on. It says, and without faith, it is impossible to please God. So we got to trust God. We got to have faith, right? Because anyone... and he says, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. How many people are living their life and looking towards God, and we want to finish big. We want to finish this race committed, and we want to have that said to us, well done, my good and faithful servant. And we can't live a casual life of Christianity. We need to live a life that is committed. Now, I am not talking about working your way back to heaven. Our whole relationship takes care of that. When we put our faith and trust in the finished work of the cross, that seals the deal. But God has left us here for a time to be his hands and his feet and his mouth and encourage him as we go along. So here's a question. How committed are you to the cause of Christ? And what I mean by that, are you sharing your faith regularly? Are you plugged into a place of worship? Are you about God's business? Are you being a mirror of Christ to other folks? And I mean, sometimes it can be difficult because our life gets busy. But if we seek him first, if we make the Lord our priority and commit to what he has us to do, he's going to take care of all those other things. He is going to go and guide our steps. And so the next thing is, what about accountability? I know that a lot of times when we're at church, I know we don't have a real big congregation. I'm thankful for everybody who comes there, anywhere from 45 to 50 people, and God is growing that all the time. But when somebody's not there, with that size folks, I know everybody's name. I know we miss them. And here's the thing, because they miss out on what God's showing them and what God's doing in the midst of us, but also that the gift that you have is not there. And so it's not never coming down on anybody. It's to invite them and say, hey, man, look, we miss you. I know if you go to your family's house at Christmas or whatever, and you're sitting around the table and somebody's not there, you miss them because you love them. It's the same thing. But there's also accountability with that, Hey, are you serving? Are we being a part of what's going on in God's family? And I realize sometimes it's hard for people to get out and different things like that. But you know what? Plug in. God has blessed us with so many ways, like through the live streams, that we can reach out and meet people right where they are. So I hope that we take full advantage of that. But we need to be committed, And I heard this a long time ago, and I always thought this was kind of an interesting thing. It said, if you were put on trial for being a Christian, would they find enough evidence to convict you? Let that sink in for a minute. I've mentioned this before. I said, if somebody came in your neighborhood and they pounded on the door and they asked your neighbors, look, I need to get a hold of a Christian. I need to talk to somebody who knows God. Would they point them to your house? Would they say, hey, you need to go next door to, Buddy's house or Johnny's house or Mike's house or whatever the case? Because people see how you live, and people see what you believe as your actions are lived out. Now, look, I know we all missed the mark. I say it every week. I'm preaching to me, But I tell you what, I pray that we're fast to make those course corrections and continue to seek the Lord. There's a few other things here. I said, are we running a good race for the Lord? There's a point that a man once died, then the judgment. We're going to stand before the Lord and give account of our life for every idle word and everything else. Our salvation is secure in Christ, but we're still going to give account. So, with what we did, how did we serve? How did did we allow God to use our life? And so, you think about what the great prices that Jesus paid for you. And so he sees great, he just wants to work through your life in a great and mighty way so that other people can come to the saving knowledge of Christ. And I said, man, we need to be steadfast in our faith. Sometimes we let circumstances and things just rock our faith. And that's what he says here. And without faith, it is impossible to please God. Man, if you want to be a God pleaser, we need to trust God. We need to be filling up on the Word of God. Okay? So be encouraged with this message, man. Make a committed effort each day. You know what, Lord? I'm going to grow in your Word. Lord, I'm going to serve you in any way that you choose to use me. And Lord, help me, lead, guide, and direct my steps. And here's another thing. Be of good cheer, man. I know when I have the opportunity, and we have the opportunity each and every day, I am grateful and thankful to be able to serve the Lord and do different things because it comes out of a relationship. I'm excited to be able to do things that the Lord has blessed me with and gifted me with and different things like that because I say, man, you know what? God loved me this much to send his only son. It's nothing to just turn around and say, hey, you know what? Hey, can I help you out? Can I do this? Man, can I pray for you? I mentioned in one of my little Facebook statements the other day, I was off a couple days this week, and one of my days I was off, I went with Denise, my wife, to an eye appointment. Now, why it takes 3 hours to do an eye appointment, I don't know. And the place was full and the place was packed. And I was sitting there talking to different people. As you all know, I'm going to talk to somebody. And I was sitting there, and I was sharing a few things. And there was like 12 people in this small room, and I'm sharing about what God had been doing. And the next thing you know, I turned around, and everybody's kind of tuned in to what I'm saying. And in that instant, God had gave me a platform to share about the grace of God. Nobody ran, nobody was yelling or anything like that. And I wasn't shoving anything down their throat. I just had an opportunity to tell those folks in that moment what God had been doing in my life and what he'd love to be doing in theirs. And say, well, buddy, you're a preacher. It's easy for you. I was just talking to one person, a one-on-one conversation, and just sharing a few things. But, in the midst of that, God multiplied that by a dozen. And so you know what? Don't think you've got to be on a big stage to be used in a mighty way. He will use you right where you are. A lot of times he uses us right in our family. Maybe it's at our workplace. Maybe it's in the grocery store. Maybe it's in the line. Wherever it is, I pray that we're committed to whatever God's given us to do to share the message. So you know what? I don't think there's really any place in our life for casual Christianity. I pray through the message tonight that you're encouraged that it's committed Christianity. And what I mean by that is that we're all in with God. So I hope you guys are blessed by the message. It's to encourage you, to lift you up. And check back Wednesday. We're going to try to do another message. Check out our website at keepthepromise.org. I always want to invite everybody out to Bible study. If you're here in the Pocosin area at 23662, come on out, 7 to 8:15 at 9 Cedar Road. And also we have church there every Sunday at 10 a.m. So if you can't make it out, we'd love to meet you in person. We appreciate you guys supporting the ministry through prayer and giving and all those things. We love you. Hey, let's be committed to Christ and make a difference. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Do me a favor, share the message and encourage others. Have a great night. We love you.